Are we headed for a full-on lockdown, and what's going to run out next? Hey everybody, it's Magic Prepper, and today I want to talk to you about whether or not we're on our way to a full-on lockdown and what exactly to expect will run out next. Now, there's been a lot of panic going around the nation. There's been a lot of situations arising, and every single day we seem to have new information and new direction from our leadership that tells us whether or not our daily lives are going to change from one day to the next. And that is definitely something you have to keep up on. It's definitely very stressful. So if you're in a situation right now where you're new to preparation and you're trying to learn more about how to be prepared, please hit the subscribe button below. That way I can help you prepare and you can help the rest of the community grow, and we can hopefully have more and more people ready for these kinds of events in the future. So we're probably headed towards some type of a lockdown. My last video described how we had martial law imminent. If martial law is declared, then we're definitely going to see ourselves under a police or military enforced lockdown of some kind. And what that means is you're not going to be allowed to be unrestricted and move wherever you'd like to go. You're not going to be allowed to purchase the things you want to purchase. You're not going to be allowed to do a lot of the things that we all kind of expect to be able to do during our basic daily lives. This lockdown is going to be considered to be for our own safety. However, we all know whenever there's been like a military or a police style lockdown in the past, with whether or not it's the United States or another country, we definitely suffer under a lockdown. It doesn't matter what your situation is, whether you're wealthy, whether you're poor, or whether you're healthy or not. Having a lockdown where your freedoms are eventually evaporated and you don't have any rights left to protect you from whatever it is that happens during that lockdown scenario it's a terrible thing. It's dangerous, and it's something that a lot of people are not going to react well to. The further this escalates and the more possible a lockdown is, the more likely people are going to be out in the streets acting a fool, as some of us like to say, okay? So the problem is that people are like animals. When they're cornered, they're dangerous, they react irrationally, and they're going to do things that we don't expect. I know I have already seen a lot of interesting posts on social media, people saying things to the effect of, oh, all the stuff you're buying, you actually bought for me, because when I need it, my family needs it, I'll be coming for you. Or, oh, all of you preppers out there who have been hoarding all the supplies, thanks for ruining, our lives, and thanks for being selfish, and now we all need your help, and we're going to be looking for you when this time comes, when we get to a situation where we're not receiving our basic needs and they're not being met. So be careful. This is a good time for us as preppers and people who have a prepared mindset to be careful. If you're new to preparation, please be aware of the fact that people are the most dangerous aspect of any SHTF scenario. And this is currently becoming an SHTF scenario very quickly. And what you have to remember is that panic and fear drives people to do things out of desperation that they would never usually do. And this is where we have to be worried, because if you're prepared or you're starting to prepare and you're learning more about it, understand that marauders, raiders, things like that we talk about a lot in the prepper community are the reason why preppers also prioritize security, okay? So this lockdown is going to be coming in the form of law enforcement met with National Guard and possibly military intervention, based on the fact that under national emergency powers, the executive branch has a lot more flexibility in what they can or can't do, regardless of what the Constitution likes to try to protect us with, okay? So, do I think a lockdown is on its way? If we declare martial law and if they start to restrict interstate travel, then we're already under a lockdown. Interstate travel is one of those things that the only way to restrict it is by closing down the roads. And in order to close down the roads, you have to enforce that closure. And once that closure is enforced, you are now under a lockdown that may or may not be enforced using lethal force. Okay? So that is on its way if things keep progressing the way they are. With the speech that's coming out of the White House and the way the president is reacting to the things that are happening right now, people being told not to gather, not to go out in large numbers at any certain type of event, people being told not to panic buy and not to buy out all the supplies. All those things are exactly what you expect when there's a situation like this one, where the leadership's going to tell us what we need to hear to try to calm down the herd. But in reality, we all know that this is just getting worse, or else these kinds of updates and these kinds of verbiages that are being used wouldn't be being used. Especially when the president says things like, don't go out to eat, or hopefully we can have this fixed in 15 days, but it could be until August. Those are all things that we are basically either able to look at and say they either have no idea or they know it's going to be longer than they want to admit, and that buys them enough time to continually try to work on it, okay? So we need to all understand that a lockdown is most likely on its way, at least of some kind. And honestly, with travel restrictions and everything else in place already, we're already there in many ways, okay? So let's go ahead and move on to the next part of this video, which is what's going to run out next, especially under a lockdown, okay? What will run out next? What have we seen so far, okay? Here's what we've seen so far. Toilet paper, right? That was like the number one thing to go. Not everyone could have predicted that. However, if you are a prepper or you are someone of a prepared mindset, then you probably had some extra toilet paper laying around, or you had other versions of toilet paper, aka Canadian Prepper's video on toilet paper tablets from years ago. Very great video, very great product. I have many of them. The reason I have them was because I thought they'd be great for bug out bags. Now, I'm glad I have them anyway because it seems like you can't find them anywhere. So there's a lot of things that we don't expect to have happen, but we have to try to speculate and predict what's going to happen next. So the next items that are going to run out are going to be similar to what you would expect in like a hurricane or a natural disaster, okay? So my expectation is that we're going to see things happening at the gas stations. We're going to be filling up our gas tanks. We're going to be filling up our extra fuel tanks that we have laying around the house for our lawnmowers and our garden equipment and everything else. Then we're going to move on to the next facet, which you usually see in one of those disasters, which is forms of energy. So batteries are going to be hit hard. We're going to see solar chargers and crank generators that are handheld start to go as well, especially the ones with emergency radios attached to them. And then we're also going to see actual generators start to go. People are not sure what's going to happen, and one thing they know for a fact is that without electricity, they're sitting ducks because most people are not prepared to operate without electricity. So anything that produces energy, including gasoline, is going to go next. That's what you need to watch out for, and if you don't have any of those items that give you energy or power some of your devices or some of your equipment that you need in order to get by, make sure you take care of that now. If you're not running on a full gas tank right now, bad move. If you're not making sure that all your extra batteries are stored away and that you have rechargeables and you have some kind of a solar or hand crank generator that can recharge those items, make sure you get it now because those things are going next if everything continues to go the way it is. I promise you. This is just how it tends to be, okay? So baby wipes are gone, toilet paper's gone, bleach is gone. If you're out of bleach and you need bleach, go get Pool Shock. Pool Shock is very pretty much just bleach. It's chlorine, right? So you can use it in lower doses because it's highly concentrated. But if you're worried about having bleach, which for me, yes, it's a cleaning agent and you can use it to disinfect, but it's also a way you can purify water and make sure that your drinking water source is safe. And a lot of times, all these things end up coinciding one way or the other. So that's just a little bit of a hint for you. But that's what we're seeing so far, right? Those things are disappearing. People are stocking up like crazy on food, especially rice, beans, cans. It looks like basically a lot of people Googled what should I buy for long-term food storage, and now all the rice and beans are gone, right? Because that's a great starter food for people to learn how to store food and put it away. If you don't have a vacuum sealer yet, go ahead and buy one. They're probably still available. You can get them on Amazon for pretty cheap if you get some of the cheaper models. And they do the job and they make your food last longer. So I will put a link in the description below as well as up here, over here on the video so that you can see one of my older long-term food storage videos to give you some ideas of like things you can do as a new prepper. I think there's a lot of new people in the community. One of the best things we can do in this community is accept those people in, show them the best way to do things, and help them on their journey because the more prepared people there are out there, the more that events like the one we're in right now aren't going to be as negative as we're seeing this one is, okay? When more people are prepared, there's less panic, there's less chaos. Don't forget, this lockdown that's incoming and this next item that we're going to run out of, most likely energy sources, is all because of panic, not because of the reason why all of this started in the first place. And not because of the economy necessarily, even though an economic collapse is definitely looking to be on the horizon of some kind at least. A lot of this is all coming from the people's panic. The way that people are reacting to this is why the idea of martial law and why the idea of a lockdown is on the way. So if you're worried about getting back home or getting to a bug out location or getting anywhere that you feel like you need to be right now, and I'm not telling you where to go and I'm not telling you to bug out, I'm just saying if you need to get somewhere else than where you are, you better do it really, really soon, because otherwise we're going to be under a full lockdown as long as everything keeps perpetuating the way it is right now. So if you have any questions about preparedness, you're new to this, maybe you're new to preppers in general and you're thinking that we're crazy people, but for some reason right now we're not, then make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you search out some other channels. There's other amazing channels out there. If you go on my channel page, you'll see that I have a list of other prepper channels that I suggest and highly recommend for great information as well as for entertainment value, because some of it is. And at the same time, if you have any questions from me directly, my website, magicprepper.com, has a contact form on it. Send me a message. I will message you back. I'm very good about communicating. And if it's just like, hey, I'm new to this, I don't know where I should start, what should I buy, what do I do? I don't mind. Send me a message and I'll see if I can get back to you the best way I can with the best information I can, okay? So, without anything else to say about this lockdown that's incoming and what else is going to be running out soon, that is it for Magic Prepper.